Don't forget to click that subscribe and bell icon to receive a notification each time I upload a new video. Hi everyone, it's Mike here and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to create another masterboard, motherboard, depending on what you want to call them. They go by different names. So this is one that I created a while ago that I used. I scanned it onto my computer and then I used it in various different other projects. So this is the masterboard, if you like. You can see that this has got bits of shine on it from paint and glazes and from matte medium and all kinds of other manner of things, all made with scraps of tissue paper, rice paper, and then paint on top with matte making in various different colours, and even fingerprints. So I'm going to create something similar to this today, but I've got my watercolour cardstock here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some coloured tissue. So I've got some of this Tim Holtz Ideology collage paper, collage paper. This is the, well, it says aviary on it. So I'm going to use up some of that. I've also got some old dictionary pages taken from when Ian did one of his thank you cards a while ago. He was supposed to have made 4 but only made 3. I'm still left over with the bits. So I'm going to use those as well. I've got paints, obviously, either Dinner Wakely or I've got some Americana ones, but I'm also going to incorporate some of these remnant rubs from Tim Holtz Ideology. Now these were sent to me ages ago in Happy Mail. Judging by the price tag, these are from Michael's over in the States. That looks like a kind of Michael's or Hobby Lobby style sticker from memory, the last time I was in the States in a Michael's. So I'm going to incorporate some of those as well. So to get started, what I want to do is I've got some matte medium, I've got some kitchen towel, I've got a pot of water just off to the side here. So I'm going to make a start just by, I've got some baby wipes as well, just in case they're needed. And I'm going to make a start. So we take the top off that, see if we can get the whole lot out. There we go. So we'll make a start pulling some of this tissue paper off the roll. I'm not being too particularly bothered about whether or not get full birds or half birds or whatever in there. They're just going to get glued down into the background, like so, just one over the top of the other. I'm not particularly bothered if they get wrinkly or if there's a few air bubbles under there. Don't really care, to be honest. But what I also might do is just rip up some of that dictionary paper and just slide a few pieces of that underneath the collage paper, just for a bit of difference. So that will then also show through in that background. So we're going to do that, but I might do that way, so it's vertical, whereas that will be horizontal. But I also can't decide whether to do these that way, or mix and match, so that there's no up and no down, there's no right way around. Which I think that's probably what I'm going to try and do, which seems a shame to tear up that hole. See, I'm doing it already. I'm second guessing and I shouldn't be. So let's just rip off that bit there, like so, and that can go there. So if we try and do it so that they're all, that's it, that's a bit off. And then I'll take that one off there. and I'll stick that one down like there, so there's no up or down on either of them, or either way. There we go. Let's take that piece off as well. That says the Telegram office on, because I might be able to use that a bit later on. There. Yeah, I like that. So let's get slapping with some of that matte medium. Let me just tear that bottom off there. I don't particularly like straight lines. Okay, so put plenty down, and I'm going to try and not touch this, because usually when I touch matte medium it affects my skin, which I think I've mentioned a couple of times before, and I don't want that. Okay, so because we're going all different directions, we can also afford to go all kinds of different directions with the dictionary paper also. That's cool. Right, so first one can go down over there, and I'm going to just take it off the edge of the paper as well. I don't mind if it's not exactly perfectly aligned or perfectly straight. Don't really care. So that's that first bit down. So let's stick that piece down there. See, I said I wasn't going to touch it, and I've just gone and touched it. Never mind. As Granny used to say, it'll all come out in the wash. So one little bit down, let's just go over the paper, and we said we'd go that way with that one. And like I said, not bothered about getting wrinkles or that kind of stuff in the paper. If it happens, it happens. Just go with the flow. And then we'll put a piece on this side. So we'll put a piece there. See, I've stuck pretty much to the outside, haven't I? So let's get a piece into the middle as well. Let's tear off some of those edges. Stick that down in the middle there. And then let's get another little bit, maybe over the top there. And we've got another little bit over there. So maybe we'll just stick that down like that. Just go with it. Go with it. Right. And if you can hear banging and clattering in the background, that's Ian downstairs in the garage doing his thing. Okay. So let's give all that a good coating. Alright, let's see if we can incorporate a few more little pieces. So maybe there, and then another small bit. Put it sideways on, about there. So we've got nothing kind of in the middle. So let's see if we can grab that other bit of telegram piece there. And we've got some numbers on this piece. So let's put those in there. Like so. And then we'll get another piece of that dictionary paper. I think I'm going to put a piece just there. like that, and another piece here. Where we're missing a bit, maybe a bit there. Okay, so we've got a bird's face there, so we'll stick that down up there. And a bit of background music, so that can just go on there like so. It doesn't really matter. Let's just rip another piece that we've got. So we've got some more music paper there. So I'm going to stick that over the top there. Everything shows through, which is perfect. And we've got a piece there that says zoological lectures or something like that anyway. So we'll take that off. Careful not to get too many of the birdies. And then what we'll do is we'll feed that one right the way up towards the top. So we've got that there. Okay, so my board or my paper is pretty much dry now, so I've brought out those remnant rubs that I was talking about earlier. Now, there are different ways in which you can use these remnant rubs. You can either painstakingly cut out the sections that you want to use, or just pretty much use them en masse. Just if you're not really bothered about getting that kind of grungy look, you can just rub certain sections of the remnant rubs off into the space that you want to use. But when I've done that in the past, I've lifted the back off. When I've laid it down, I found that some of these have also caught and come off, which I've never really liked. They've come off in places that you don't really want them to come off. So it's not necessarily a good thing, depending on the levels of control that you actually want to put in place. So what I like to do is just to snip, keep the backing sheet on. See, I took it off just to show you, and then I'm now going to have difficulty getting the thing back together again. Well, that's pretty much as near as damn it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to snip out certain sections of these remnant rubs. So let's just see for those numbers there, and that 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, I'm just going to snip those out. I'm going to keep that number bit there, but go between, and then just cut round that circle like so. So we've got that piece. So that's the bit that I want. So I can take the back off, and I can lay that down now, say for example there, and I'm not particularly bothered whether or not it all sticks, or some of it sticks, or bits of it stick. And I'm just going to give it a rub with the, we call them lolly sticks here in the UK, so popsicle stick or whatever you want to call it, tongue depressor, whatever. Just give it a rub. You can also use a bone folder to do it, and then just pick the edge and then just gradually lift it up to see how much of it's coming off. See, not all of it is come off, and it's also, you see, I should have waited for that the matte medium to fully dry before doing this, because it's pulled up some of the matte medium as well. See, there's the first fail. Yeah, that's lifted that up. Some of it's come off, some of it hasn't. There we go, look. So we've kind of lost that bit. That's fine. We'll have to see if we can remove that at a different date and stick that down somewhere else. So therein lies the first lesson. Don't apply remnant rubs to a surface that isn't fully dry yet. Right, I'm going to get this dry and I'll be back for the second go. See, triumphs and tribulations. Okay, so it's been about half an hour or so, and the remnant rubs are still not working on that matte medium. I've had another go, which is why you can see a few extras up there, but they still don't like it. So I'm going to do a different tack. So lesson learned, matte medium and remnant rubs do not like each other. Who knew? Okay, so let me just bring back in that original motherboard or masterboard, depending on what you want to call it. So looking at this, I get the impression that I didn't actually use acrylic paints on it. I think I used Neocolor 2s from Caran d'Ache. I don't know why, I'm just getting that kind of feeling that's what I did. Not paint, so I'm not going to use paint. I'm actually going to use the Neocolors. So I've dusted mine off. There you go, did you see the dust? And there's my collection of, I've also got a mixture of oil pastels, watercolour crayons from Reeves, but also Dina Wakley's scribble sticks in there as well. So, but I'm going to try and stick to the Neocolors. And also the colours that I want to use on this board, the previous one that I did was yellows, oranges, so it's mostly warms. So I think on this one I'm going to go kind of yellows and greens. For no other reason than those are the colours that are already in there, and I might just add a few kind of warm tones in there. Maybe with, see if I can find, I don't think there's a red, there's a vermilion there, so that might work as well. But try not to get the green and the red together, because that's just going to make mush, it's going to make mud. Because red and green, when mixed together, makes brown. Yes, it does. So, because these are permanent when dry, if you try and keep them away from each other, you should be alright. So, but I'm looking for different greens. So we've got, that's a scribble stick, Mike, I don't want that one. So what have we got? We've got emerald green, and we've got yellow green, and there's a yellow there which is lemon yellow, and lemon. And then we've got dark gold. I'm going to put that vermilion back just for a second, because I've got brain warm. My spider sense is tingling, saying don't do it. So if you're going to do it, go cooler and add blue. There we go. That's a turquoise. And there's, what's this one hiding in the corner? Phthalocyanine blue. That sounds like a poison, doesn't it? Cyanine blue. Yeah, it does sound like a poison. And what else have we got? Apologise for the sound of me scrabbling through my Neocolor tin. No, that'll do, I think. So, what am I going to do? First of all then, I'm going to lay down some of the greens. So let's start off with that emerald green. And I'm just going to scrub into areas. Just add little dots. And then I'm going to take a baby wipe. And I've got some additional water, and I'm just going to add on there. So dib in, because this is a fairly dry baby wipe, and then I'm just going to gently activate that colour. Can you see? This is why my thoughts went to, you didn't use paint on these last time. because the way the colour reacts with the baby wipe kind of told me that I was using the Neo colours. Okay, let's go back and add a little bit more of that darker green over there. And the thing with these is, as long as you get in there before they dry, you can wipe back. But once they're dry, okay, so let's bring in that yellow green now and do that in different areas. And I'm just randomly going about the page. I move to a clean spot on my baby wipe and then activate that. And I am blending it in to that colour if it touches. So for example there, I'm blending it across. So here, I'll blend that in there. It's a little bit dry, I think. Just touch more water, that's it. And then bring it into the dark. And then just lightly blend it in. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to keep on going. Yellow. Pick up some of that water. And then just lightly blend.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello. Are you going to ask me a question?
I'm just going to tell you I'm taking Bentley out. I've just noticed the time.
Oh, what time is it?
4:20.
No, I'm surprised.
4:45.
I'm surprised he's not been sat on the top of the stairs, pointing at his wrist.
I think he's just disgusted. He's gone to bed.
I'm not surprised. I'm not
We'll
surprised.
see you all later.
Okie dokie. Be careful. Take your mobile, just in case. Okay, so I'm going to add a little bit more dark green in there, and all I'm doing is just picking up a little bit of water. You can always go back in and add more. Oh, Mr. Bentley. Bad daddy. There we go. And then just blend those colours around. Okay, so I'm now going to introduce a little bit of that dark gold. Just around there, a bit in there, maybe a bit there, and where it's a bit lighter, maybe a bit in the middle. So again, I'm going to move to a clean spot on my baby wipe. Maybe add just a tad more water. Okay, so that's maybe a bit too light. It's not really adding much. Take that right into the corner, because we don't necessarily like white corners. So let's just, is it a metallic? Is it metallic? Water solid, doesn't, so it is metallic. Haha. Okay, I didn't realise I had any metallic Neo colours. I do now. Okay. kind of liking that. It's all kind of blending nicely. Now's the time to add some blues. So let's get some blue up there, some blue down here, some blue there, and maybe add some blue over the top of that, and maybe a little bit in there like that. And again, clean space on my baby wipe, tad of water, not wet enough. There we go. Now it's just lifting straight off there. Maybe it's a bit too light for what I want. Maybe just a little bit too light. Okay, so we need to go a bit darker with that blue then. So let's bring that cyanide blue in. That's a metallic as well, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Let's have a look. See if we can use a different type of blue. What's this one? Malachite green. Ooh. Ah. Just get rid of that. Like that. So let's just add some of that in. And it's just a question then of playing with your colours. I mean, if you use a wet baby wipe, I sometimes find that it can be too wet like there, look, I've just added the colour. Just gently activate it. There we go. That just brings in. There we are. And then just dab it. Lenses. Because we've got lots of greens. So the blue and the yellows working together will just make more greens, but there'll be different types of greens. Each shade added, each tone and value will be different. So you'll get different shades of green, and the human eye is hardwired to see different shades of green, because obviously green's a natural colour. So, but green is one of those colours that we can see more shades of than any other colour. It's somewhere in the well, it's ridiculously large amounts, millions of different shades. So I'm just working that blue around the page while we're talking. I'll just add a little bit there. Just a smidge more water. There we go. Okay, so because there's no up or down with this, you can literally turn it around. I think it's in need of a little bit more yellow, just to make it pop a little bit. So let's have a look at what other shades of yellow we've got. I've got yellow, but there's also an orange there, naranja. So shall we add some of that in? Let's do yellow. So that's going to make it a bit more canary-ish, isn't it? And react a bit more with what we've got. Okay, so we're running out of clean spaces now. Yeah, I'm getting a better rendition of the colour when I dab rather than wipe. So I think that's the way to go. So a deeper tone when I dab rather than wipe. Obviously wiping, you're spreading the colour. Dabbing, you're kind of just activating it and letting it sit where it is. And then the more you dab, the more it activates and the more you can lift. So let's add some more yellow back in. Take a tad of water and then just dab it. And just blend. There we go. Let's make it a bit more yellow over there. That's much better. I probably should have used this yellow to start off with rather than that lemon yellow. You see, when you wipe it, it just vanishes. But you dab it and it activates and stays where it is. Yeah. I think that's the way to go. A bit more up there and then just add just a tad more up there. Pick up that water and then just activate it where it stands. That's it. Maybe just do a quick wipe across there. A bit too much showing through, I think. So what other blue did we use? We used that light blue, then we went back to, what was it, malachite blue. There we go. And it's just a process of doing the dance, toing and froing, adding, taking away, blending until you're happy with the kind of colour balance that you're getting on your page. So you can let it dry and then go back in and just add a wee tad more. And keep going backwards and forwards, but I think maybe I just want to add a little bit of yellow there. And take a tad of water. And you can layer these as well. Once it's dry, you can go back and add another layer on top. So we're kind of starting to lose maybe a little bit of the green. So just add a bit more on. And I'm going from lighter to dark, so I'm okay with the baby wipe. Yeah, I like that. That's nice. Maybe just add a bit of that green over in the corner. Just to kind of break up that. We said green, didn't we? Ah. Why not? Use the tools God gave you. Okay, I'm happy with that at the moment. So let's get it dried, get it tidied up, and then I'll be back once that is the right way. I think I'm actually liking that as being the right way up. So, because I've got that bit there, I think. Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes when I'm dry. Okay, so as with the old one that I did, I've got some circles that I've used for mark making, which are pretty much just the tops off bottles like this. I've taken the lid off and just used that for making circles, mark making. But also I've got bubble wrap on there as well. So the piece of bubble wrap that I've got today is bigger by the looks of it. The actual circles are a little bit bigger, so I'm going to use a smaller piece. And I've got a little tub here of stuff that I've collected. So larger circles, smaller circles, and if you look at the bottom, even smaller circles. But there's also texture plates like this, which is kind of, I think this is used for some kind of, well, it's a beauty product anyway. This was sent to me in Happy Mail a while ago for the texture on there. I don't know whether you can see whether the camera's picking that up. But there's 3 different kind of like texture pads on there, and you can use those for mark making as well. Obviously straight edges, old debit cards, credit cards, room keys from hotels. I've got a compass card from my last trip to San Diego on the tramway. I've got pen lids, texture things that you use for grouting, for adding tiles on, and of course there's the catalyst pebbles, which I've got a couple of those as well for different mark making. You can use anything pretty much. So I'm going to just use that one for the minute. I'm going to use this smaller circle as well. Just pop those to one side. And I've got some white paint this time. So instead of using black paint like I've used on there, I'm going to use white. There's my bubble wrap. So those 3 items are what I'm going to use. So move that to one side. Just shake up the paint to make sure the binder is all mixed nicely, and I'm just going to put a little bit onto my mat here because you don't really need a lot. So for the circles, all I'm going to do is just catch the edge and just go around so you've got a nice even circle, and then we can just add some circles. So you don't necessarily get the full circle, not every time. Oh, the heavens have just opened out there, so Mr. Bentley and Ian are going to be completely soaked when they get back. So just add in just a few here and there. Some just coming off. And that'll do for that one. And then you've got your little one, so just put that in, and then you can go in and add smaller ones. You get the same kind of detail. Ooh, that's an absolute stinker of a downpour. Poor lads are going to be completely soaked when they come home. I can hear that against the window pane. Right, I'll tell you what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to just pop off, put this on hold for a second, and then go stand by waiting with a towel. Put the kettle on because it'll be absolutely freezing. There we go, that'll do for that one. So I'm going to let that dry naturally before we come back in and do. I'm cleaning this off because I know I'm going to be gone about half an hour or so. So there we go, just clear that off. Let that dry naturally, and then I'll be back, hopefully when the boys are dry. Okay, I'm back, and so are the boys. I was right, completely soaked through. So luckily I was on hand with towels. Okay, so I've put some more white paint down onto my craft mat. I've got the piece of bubble wrap, but rather than dab into the paint, I'm going to paint it. So just like you would dry brushing, and I'll hold it up so you can see the white paint on it, and then you can just lay it down and lightly push and then lift, and you get that lovely kind of texture effect from the bubble wrap just in the background. It's very subtle, but I will say there is a technique, or there are ways of getting different effects with the bubble wrap. The more air that's trapped in the bubble wrap, the more pronounced the effect you'll get. If you take some bubble wrap from, say for example, one of those padded envelopes where there's not a lot of air in them, you won't necessarily get quite the same effect. So again, quality is key, if you know what I mean. And I think we'll have one more little bit just here in the middle. Just a tad more paint, and I mean just a tad, literally just a smidge. That's it. And then I'm going to lay that just like so, and just gently, and then we'll just pull it off quick. There we go. I like that, so I'll have a quick tidy up, a quick wipe away, and then I'll be back, obviously once that's all dry. So that bubble wrap is now completely dry, so you can see that lovely kind of texture in the background. So it's just missing one last little thing, I think, now. So I've got my black paint. So because we've got black in all of the illustrations, the writing and everything in the background, we just need to incorporate just a little bit of black into the foreground now, because we've got the white in the foreground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take some water with a little bit of black paint, which I've just used the Dina Wakley Media Acrylic in black, and a fan brush, a little bit of water, and then we're going to just add a few black splatters all over the page, just to add that little bit of visual interest. And that should do it, I think. Just kind of helps to break it all up. Okay, so there is the page. I've already gone around and trimmed off any of the excess tissue paper from the edges, just to kind of tidy it up. But, and there's always, where do you stop? In this case, not just yet. In these areas here, I think it's missing something else. So I've gone through my stamp collection. I found this stamp set. Not sure where it came from. I may have ordered it from eBay on the cheap, or it may have even been sent to me in Happy Mail. Again, I'm going to have to start writing people's names on stuff so I know whether it was Happy Mail or not. But there's this flourish in the background. Let me just see if I can, there you go, if you can see it there, which I think would be really, really nice as an accent in these areas here. But because I've used acrylic paint, I'm going to use a permanent solvent ink. So I'm going to use StazOn Jet Black. So this is one of their newer, smaller pads, as opposed to the original size, which was that size. They've now gone to that size. It just goes to show probably the last time I bought one of those dig pads. But there's now, in these smaller ones, they now have, I think, is it 13 colours? So I've already gone through, or already gone round and seasoned the stamp by just stamping it on some paper. So what I'm going to do is just pop some of that dictionary text there, because I don't want to get it on my craft mat. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lightly just stamp, so we get a little bit of texture in that background as well. And then across there. I'm not looking to get a perfect impression each time. So maybe just swap that round. So we'll come straight the way in there. There we go. And then flip that round and then just catch it there. Not a lot on that one. There we go. And I was brave then, wasn't I? Actually repositioned it. And then we'll go into there. And of course I'm going over the white mark making, which then brings all this kind of like to the foreground. There we go. And then right in the middle, I'm just going to go just lightly. There we are. So I don't want a real strong impression. And I think maybe just in there. I think that will do. Yeah, it's fairly busy, which is what I wanted. There's a lot going on, so this is going to be perfect to cut up and turn into backgrounds once I've scanned it, of course. Okay, just to finish off then, so we had the black with all the writing and the detailing around the birds in the background that we brought to the foreground with the black splatters, and then now with that detailing. So we've also got white from the background, which was the circles, and also some of the detailing from the paper, the light and the highlights on the birds, which have now disappeared into the background underneath that kind of darkness from the splatters and from the stamping. So what we need to do is just balance that a little bit now by bringing that white to the foreground. So I've added a little blob of white paint mixed in with a little bit of water. That's maybe just a little bit too runny. I probably made far too much up there, but never mind. Okay, yeah. And now I'm just going to add some white splatters just to knock that black back into the background. But I'm being careful not to go over the birds. Or not much anyway. A little bit's okay. There we go. And I think that will do. So we need to have a quick tidy up, a quick clean, a quick dry, and then I'll be right back. Okay, there you go. So now the white splatters are completely dry. You can see all that kind of texture in the background, all this stuff going on in there. It's definitely not one for the minimalists out there. So somebody commented recently on one of my art journal pages that they would love to see me throw everything I've got at a page. Well, apart from stenciling and structure paste, I've pretty much done that. But again, this isn't really an art journal page. This is a background piece. This is a motherboard stroke masterboard designed to be cut up and used in smaller projects. So this could be turned into ATCs, it could be turned into artist trading coins, it could be turned into backgrounds for the fronts of thank you cards, which probably that's what's going to happen to this, with a different focal point on the front, maybe with a one-word kind of sentiment. But you can have a lot of fun just creating backgrounds for your projects or for future projects. So I hope you've enjoyed watching me create that. If you have, please remember to give it a thumbs up, share the video with your friends, and if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel already, you can do so by clicking the button at the end of the video. That's all from me for today. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Bye for now. I'd like to say a huge thank you to all of my angels, because without you, these videos would not be possible. Thank you.